miss me? Where was I? I was in Japan. Prior to the world blowing up back in 2020, we used to travel to Japan a lot for vacation. It started out with my wife and I going for our honeymoon, and then we went back a few times, and then after a while we started bringing our friends along and sharing the experience. If I combine all the trips, we've spent well over 100 days in Japan. I'm sure there's a few little pockets that we haven't quite gotten into yet, but over all those trips we've gotten to pretty much see most of the country, and at least visited 30 or 40 cities and towns. Someday we'd like to buy a second house over there, but in the meantime we try to get over there as often as possible. We've attended the Moon Eyes show in Yokohama a few times. We've driven go-karts through the streets of Tokyo dressed as Mario characters. Visited countless temples and shrines throughout the country and had some pretty amazing experiences. And we've seen some of the craziest vehicles that you wouldn't expect to see in a country that's known for little economical vehicles. Here's just a little sample of all the crazy stuff that we spotted on the streets of Japan. Over the last 12 years, we've all had an absolute blast every time we go. I usually end up playing tour guide, since I can speak a little bit of Japanese, and at this point I can pretty much navigate us through any point in the country. But this was our first trip in 4 years, almost to the day. My wife and I decided to travel alone so we could take a little bit more of an unconventional trip this time. We spent a little bit more time in certain cities.
Thank you very much.
And then we also did some car-related stuff. We planned an 18-day trip that would start in late November and go all the way through mid-December. Now that put us again into the time frame to do Moon Eyes again in Yokohama, but this year I had an opportunity that I couldn't pass up. I was able to make a special trip to the company that I bought my truck from. So the response I've gotten from my videos about the JDM cars that I've been importing has been amazing. It's been really fun helping people to import these little trucks and vans. And I know firsthand I've even encouraged a few of you guys to pull the trigger yourself and import one of these little guys. Now you've heard me mention the company Mitsui before. They were the company that I imported Little Biscuit from. Now buying a car sight unseen from another country is a little daunting, but so far I've been happy with both of my purchases. But Biscuit gave me a little less trouble than Kiki did. And after I met with the team at Mitsui, I think I figured out why. Now, I'm not going to turn this into a full Mitsui commercial. This video is in no way sponsored by them. These are just my personal experiences, and they were kind enough to let me come out and visit them. So while we were planning the itinerary for this trip, my wife suggested that maybe I can see if I could buy a car while I'm in Japan. I'm there after all, I can see it in person. It would be really awesome if I could just pick one out. But I'm still pretty broke from building the garage in the back and from paying for this trip. So picking one out in person is just going to have to wait for now. But in the meantime, I figured the next best thing I could do is to see if I could visit the car lot and maybe shoot some B-roll and just wander around a bit and just see what they had. So on a whim, I just reached out to Mitsui to see if I could take a tour of their lot. I didn't really expect a reply, but I shot them an email with some links of the videos I've been making, and I actually got a reply back pretty quick. They said sure, they'd be happy to have me come visit the lot. So while I plotted out the rest of my trip, I made arrangements to spend a couple days up in the mountains of Toyama. Toyama's in the northern middle area of Honshu Island, but until this trip I had no idea how picturesque this city was. I'd actually been here once before, but we got there late in the evening and it was just a quick one-night stay. We didn't really get to do much in the city because it was nighttime and everything was closed. Well, other than eat one of the best bowls of ramen I've ever had in my life, at a place that's sadly closed now. This time we made sure we could at least spend a full day here in Toyama. And the way it worked out, we were able to wake up the next morning, go to Mitsui, and then hop back on a bullet train on our way to Kyoto. Now that I had the trip planned out, I sent Kazu Mitsui a message and let him know what day I'd be in, and he said, "See you then." So, on a rainy Monday, we headed out. Now to get to Mitsui was a little tricky from Toyama. I tried to rent a car, but I guess it was a little too late last minute, so I couldn't find any availability. Which is insane. I tried like 10 different rental companies and nobody had any cars available for just an hour or two. So we decided to take the bullet train. We actually had to backtrack one station the way we came the day before. Mitsui's main office is near the Kurobe Gorge exit of the Shinkansen, but luckily we had an unlimited rail pass for the bullet train, so it's basically like a really fancy, fast subway around Japan. They're not right next to the station, so I checked with the information booth for a bus that was running near Mitsui. It wasn't coming for another hour or so, so we decided to just grab a taxi. It wasn't really super far, but the taxis in Japan can be kind of pricey. It was about 4,000 yen or so to get there, which is about $28, $30 now. So as I was pulling up, I didn't really know what to expect. But, of course, in typical awesome Japanese fashion, Mr. Kazu and Miss Chikako were there to greet us and show us around. She spoke English really well and was able to help translate us to Mr. Kazu, although I could tell he understood English pretty well also, as he would often answer my questions before she would even have a chance to translate them. So between my half-assed Japanese and Miss Chikako's awesome English, we were able to talk a bunch about his company and what makes them different from some of the other dealers out there. So I didn't film our conversation for this part. I didn't want to really make anybody nervous, and like I said, I was really just expecting to get some B-roll and maybe check out the lot. But Kazu was nice enough to sit down with us for a while we spoke about their company. Kazu, who is a native of the Toyama area, has been doing this for about 20 years. They sell cars here locally in Japan as well as internationally, and they have a team of experts that help you along with the process. One of the main things that I learned about them was that they put a lot of extra maintenance and care into their vehicles. Now in my last few videos I talked about how there were a lot of, let's say, quality issues between my truck and my van. And I just kind of chalked this up to the luck of buying a 25-year-old car. But Kazu did mention that some of the other dealers that are exporting cars in Japan are not Japanese, meaning they're foreigners themselves and selling cars overseas. Primarily they're selling to poorer countries where condition isn't necessarily as important, it's more about the price. Now this might sound kind of like a dig to the other companies, but if you've ever dealt with Japanese professionalism, you know it's just something different. There's a lot of care and precision that's put into their work, and that translates to the vehicles. Miss Chikako also added that the prices might be low, but the value is ultimately not as good. Most Asian countries are generally on the poorer side, so they hold on to vehicles for a long time, and maintenance is really important. We spoke a little bit more about cars in general, and I showed him this ridiculous fleet of cars that I have, and he laughed at me and said, "Where do you keep them all, and how do you find parts for them?" I told him about the ridiculous garage I just built, and we laughed about how it's easier to actually find parts for my 1950 Buick than it is for my 1996 Kei Truck. So once we were all done with that, I figured I would take a few minutes to just film the lot and get some B-roll, and then I'd just take off. But Mr. Kazu had some other ideas. He took me personally on a full tour of the whole facility that he's built there. And what an awesome setup he has. He introduced me to one of his repair guys. Forgive me, I forget what his name is.
Hi. Maintenance chief. Maintenance chief. Hi. Arigato. Nice to meet you.
He showed me all the work that they put into the trucks before they put them up for sale. They would do minor paint repair and rust repair.
Yeah, the holes.
Hi.
Yeah, so. And paint.
Yes.
Paint, yeah, flat.
Yes. Sand. Lots of sanding.
Yeah, sand.
わかります。
Yeah.
はい。
Yeah. So. And please look here. They are rusty.
はい。はい。
They undercoat the chassis and other components, and then even repair and replace damaged panels.
Undercoating.
Yeah,
Hi. Undercoating.
undercoating.
Hi.
Right one. Yeah.
はい。
So we use it.
And spray. はい。
And clean.
Right.
To clean. So undercoating.
はい。
And
They'd paint the wheels if necessary and replace tires if necessary.
This condition, oil of condition,
Right.
usually, and we paint.
Paint. Right.
Paint the holes,
Yes.
and
Install. Hi.
install.
Sugoi.
And we, of course, we check any places, so lights, brake lights, and wipers,
Hi.
or check engine oils, amount of engine oils.
Yes,
Or, yeah.
Yes, everything was in very good condition when I got it. Yes, good condition.
Yeah.
Hard, or there are many
Many
tail light. Many trucks.
Yeah, many
What the trucks?
So
Hi,
we
hi.
finally
Hi.
it will become first usually this condition.
Yes.
Like this condition.
Right.
Paint the holes.
Right.
And change tires.
Yes.
And
Oh yes. I sprayed bed liner.
bed
in
liner,
mine.
yeah.
Hi.
erase any damages.
Right.
Or, and
Sugoi.
of course, change batteries.
Batteries, right.
Batteries. Yeah, new batteries.
New batteries.
Oh yeah.
The tire is very good too.
Oh yes. We use
Yes.
clean tires.
Yes. The car has gotten rusty in Florida.
No.
Florida's very rusty. Sugoi. Arigato
Welcome
gozaimasu.
to Mitsui.
Thank
Mitsui
you.
Corporation.
Yes, very good. Very good. Hi.
This was one of the major differences that I saw with Mitsui. They seem to really care about the condition of the cars before they're listed and sold and leave their facility. Now I get it, I'm sure some of the work that they're doing is a little bit more on the cosmetic side, but if they have a bad panel or a dent and they pull it, well, that's one less thing you have to do. Now I'm sure with used car dealers this is pretty typical, but I could see what kind of care and thought they were putting into the process. They were putting pride into what they do and wanted a better overall product for the end buyer. Now in one of my other videos I complained about how most Japanese websites have like the worst photos of anything that they're showing. Not so with Mitsui. On their direct site it has a much better experience than from cars from Japan. Not to knock them, but they have a very standardized small picture for every car. But on Mitsui's personal website, all the photos are much bigger and you can see more clearly what's going on with each vehicle. On most, if not all the cars, they actually have a video of the car running, stopping, driving, putting the blinkers on, and they show a shot from underneath the car, so you really get to see what you're getting into. When I asked Mr. Kazu, he said the pricing is actually a little bit better from their direct website as well. Now, of course, you have to be comfortable with spending a decent amount of money with an overseas company. You may have a little bit more protection buying directly from Car from Japan, but after meeting with Mitsui, I wouldn't even hesitate to trust that they're a very professional and trustworthy company to work with. Now, Mr. Kazu is happy to show me the new facility that they have across the street. They're in the middle of construction on this brand new building. This facility is actually across the street from their existing workshop and is going to be their new headquarters. He took us through the construction site and showed us where the new offices were going to be.
Very cool. Hi. How long till ready?
6 months.
6 months. Hi. Does this give you a lot more space for cars then?
On top of these two lots, he had two other overflow lots.
I'm gonna bag right there.
Hi, more yarn.
Oh, hi.
Here. Okay.
Okay, go. Let's go.
Hi. Be good.
He also took me over there and introduced me to another one of his paint guys who was in the process of respraying a little Honda Street Acti Raccoon.
Many Kei Trucks. The raccoon. Tanuki.
Maybe next purchase.
I think this might be the next one I buy. They literally have cars stashed everywhere in this city. So I'm really excited about my next purchase, and it's probably going to be from them directly.
Sugoi. Hi. Good.
Painting?
Painting.
Okay. Thank you so much. Now again, they didn't sponsor this video or anything. They were just super accommodating and very welcoming to my wife and I. I'm going to put some links below to their direct website. Feel free to reach out if you're interested in working with them. They're amazing people. So after we got the grand tour, we went back to the main office and we had some coffee and talked for a little bit more. They gifted me with this awesome Mitsui license plate for Biscuit.
Thank you very much. すごい.
It was just a very cool and genuine experience. So I didn't want to take up any more of their time, so I just asked them to call me a cab so I could get back to the train station. But of course, Mr. Kazu generously drove us back to the train station so we could get over to Kyoto. On our way back to the train station, we had a great talk about Florida and baseball and celebrities.
力を合わせりゃ取り戻せる。本気で言ってるのか。
And I told him if he ever makes it stateside, make sure to look us up. I can only hope to extend a small amount of the courtesy that he showed us. So I'm looking forward to my next purchase, and I'm also thinking about ways that I can help their business. I mean, I do have a garage back here with enough storage for a lot of little mini trucks, but that might have to wait for a little bit. Thank you again to the whole team over at Mitsui. They were all amazing, and I can't wait to work with them again in the future, and hopefully I get to visit them sometime soon.
Buy from Mitsui.
Perfect.
I'd really like to know what your guys' experience has been with the import process. Are there any dealers that you recommend or recommend to stay away from? Or do you have any advice for other viewers? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. So that's it for now. I have no idea what content is going to come out next. I have a few more Japanese walking tour videos that I might post, and then maybe back to some car or maybe some tattoo stuff. We'll just see what I have ready to go. I do have some bad news about one of my vehicles, and I'll share some more once I have some more concrete information on it. Till then, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. And be sure to check out Mitsui's YouTube channel and website. I'll make sure to link them below. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. By the way, we have a couple new shirts in the merch store featuring a very heavily modified retro synth pop Kiki. We also have a selection of all of our outer print shop shirts. Check them out now at slushbox.threadless.com. Link below.